Welcome to Kathy'sRight.com, your pit stop for the conservative mind, heart, and soul. Today, we welcome a special guest, Melinda Rivera, founder of New Mexit. Melinda Rivera has been making a stir. With her TikTok videos, she is causing some commotion. I call it patriotic commotion. Here's a sample of Melinda Rivera.
Let's talk about this Trump cult rhetoric, right? I'm a Trump cult member. No, honey, let's correct the record now. I support President Trump. I support him because he supports my values as an American. He protects the Constitution. He understood at his inauguration, you can go listen again, that said it is time to give the government back to the rightful owners, and that is the people. He drew the curtain up on all of the corrupt career elite politicians that have been getting rich and have been becoming powerful on our backs, on our tax money, right? So let's make sure that you get it right. I am not a cult member. I support and voted for a president that supports and values my beliefs as a free American. All right. So I just wanted to make sure that we had that clear.
I loved your TikTok video. Remember the one where Joe Biden says, "We are doomed."
Yeah.
Your face is like, doomed. Not just because of you black people. Not just because of you black people. You know,
oh my gosh.
That man, I mean, does he even know what's coming out of his mouth?
No, I don't think so at this point anymore. I just don't think he is, and I'd put a post out, like literally, I'm really worried because if this is how he's talking in front of a mic with the teleprompter to the American people, what the heck is going on behind closed doors with world leaders? Like,
oh my gosh.
What is he saying? What is it like? I want to know how those conversations are going. I don't think he's in charge. I don't know. I mean, he has to talk to them because then the other world leaders, unless they're corrupt and a part of it, are going to know that this man is not in charge of this country. Right. There's no way he can talk to and do the work that he's doing. And plus, where's all the footage of it? You know, when President Trump was in office, when he was with North Korea, South Korea, with China, with Germany, he would have them there, and like you could see how those conversations were going. Yes. And I don't feel that we're getting that with Biden.
We're not. We're not getting enough dollars not enough for our buck, so to speak, because there's sort of, when you have to say, oh, Joe got through that speech without any gaffes, and that's your claim to fame, is that he got through it. Your president, there should be no question whether he could get through it without saying something really stupid.
It's really scary. But then you look at the people that are pulling us. I mean, literally Hillary Clinton is in charge. I was listening to Tulsi Gabbard again this morning on a video when she was debating Kamala Harris.
Yes, I remember.
And a lot of stuff started to come back to me when she said, we are dealing with a political party. We're dealing with politicians, elites that want to take over Washington, D.C. Like she was saying things that President Trump was saying. Mm-hmm. And, she was calling out the corruption of the elites of these politicians that have literally taken over our government. And that's why Hillary came after her as hard as she did after Tulsi Gabbard. And then Kamala, came after her and said, well, you were like you were busted going to Trump Tower, trying to meet with Trump. You don't hold the values of the Democrat Party when you do things like that. Well, who are you to say that first and foremost? Because we need bipartisan. We want to see that as American citizens. You don't own the government, we do. And then she said, Tulsi Gabbard is not going to facilitate the activity under what Obama is doing. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Let's back up the truck a little bit. So, I reminded people that these Democrats they will tell you to your face what they are planning, what they're doing way ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So when Kamala Harris said that to me, this is why we're watching Obama 2.0. Because she made it very clear during that debate with Tulsi Gabbard that, she's not aligned and won't push what Obama was doing. And that right there just clarified everything for me. So I shared it today.
Good.
People have to hear it.
My gosh. Well, what we've got is what we've got. And I don't, for one, do not think this is a valid election. So I mean, nobody believes that. I mean, they can't, but, and also something I pointed out, there's your dog, he's so cute. But I also wanted to point out today, I was on Facebook and I said, how did I put it? I said, do you know of anybody who is bragging about Joe Biden and that they voted for him?
Oop.
It's like all of a sudden, Democrats don't want to talk politics.
No more. They want us to stop talking about it. And I think one of the most important things that we've learned too is that there's we can now see the problems that arise when you don't talk about politics, right? You've been raised to, you don't want to talk about politics and you don't want to talk about religion. Well, maybe that's our problem now. It's the problem we never did. So now we don't know how to have that conversation. And especially when you have mind manipulation from a corrupt media and corrupt elites that are pushing an agenda. And it gives me hope that there are many younger in our younger generation, our millennials that see it. And, like my daughters are raising my grandbabies to be strong conservatives. And to not go with the norm, to understand what makes America free, our Constitution, our civil liberties and everything. And you know what I'm doing in the fight that we're pushing in New Mexico. I finally I had to do a video and say, the fact that the pushback and the things that I'm getting back from those that are supporting this corrupt governor in New Mexico, I'm starting to understand why we've been last in education for decades. Okay. But it's the reality that we need to speak on. We are very uneducated in New Mexico. There's a lot of great education, but you know what? Because there's no opportunities in New Mexico, people flee. I mean, we're having to fly in doctors in my rural town. I can't tell you the countless doctors that have to fly in and move there because we just don't have it.
So what's going on? Are they just not paying people for jobs, or?
They pay, but it's just, like I said, the opportunities, our children that grow up and go and get these types of careers that want to be a doctor, a lawyer, it's a small percentage of them want to stay in New Mexico. They want to go elsewhere where there's opportunity because think about it. New Mexico doesn't have an Apple. Manufacturing. We don't have we don't have these big manufacturing jobs that will actually help give people, opportunity because our taxes are too high or nobody wants to live in New Mexico. It's just been ran to the ground. And so now this governor thinks she's literally making it a small California. And I'm not joking because her nephew is also in politics and he's buddy with Nancy Pelosi.
Oh gosh.
Buddies. And so, bringing in Netflix, shutting down small businesses. I mean, she murdered small business in New Mexico, completely obliterated them. And then pushing cannabis. And she's like, oh, look, all these cannabis jobs, you can get a job there. Or, oh, look, Netflix is coming in and they're going to bring billions to. Well, what do you think a rig guy working on an oil field, what is he going to do? Hold a boom mic for you? For Netflix? Nobody we are rich in minerals. We are rich in so much, but she's not capitalizing on that. She's destroying it for their own agenda.
Do you sense that they're trying to eliminate the middle class?
Yes.
That's my feeling too.
They're holding on to those that are very uneducated and that are sheep and that will follow them to the ends of the earth. We're the ones that are like, no, it's not the way it's supposed to work. You're not supposed to follow you follow Trump. Well, because Trump is the one president that's an outsider that came in and said, look, we the people should be running this government. We haven't been for a long time. Okay. You have this career corrupt elite politicians that have been pushing an agenda and rhinos too. It's not just the Democrats. We have less rhinos, but we have rhinos too. He calls them out and says our government needs to be fixed. And so So I told him, you can't even compare that. You can't put me in that conversation. You can't put Trump in that conversation, because he's not a career politician that didn't get into it to become rich. He was already filthy rich. He loves America. He loves our freedom, and knows them all, has hung around them all, has given them all money and said, man, you guys are pretty dirty. You guys are crooked, and what you're doing is wrong. It doesn't align. It doesn't align with our American values. And I'm going to run and I'm going to expose it, because the people need to take their government back. So that's the difference. And you have the media. I mean, when you talk about rich, corrupt elites, they're in our medical system. They are in our healthcare system, in our education system. They are in our media. They are in our banks. I mean, it's inundated with corruption. Yeah. They need to be cleaned out, for sure.
Well, yeah. And I think that they've infiltrated my church as well. We've got a lot of corruption, enough to go around this country twice. It's terrible. Whenever you get a group of people, you're always going to have one bad apple. But when you have the bad apple control the media, the bad apple control the education, the bad apple controls art. As an artist, I know that because I'm an outcast, because I'm a conservative artist. I finally found my tribe, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for Operation Underground Railroad.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, it's wonderful. I love it. So 50 to 75% of my proceeds go to saving children. And
God bless you. That is beautiful, because now, and Trump was the one that really pulled the curtain up on that disgusting, events as well. It's reality behind it, and how big it's gotten.
Worldwide, it's about to surpass the drug industry.
I know. Oh my God, can you, these babies, these women. And a lot of in New Mexico, we have 21 tribes, Native Americans, and many women and young girls go missing all the time. They're trafficked, they're killed. So we're really grateful and thankful to President Trump, because he wrote some executive orders, put some bills and laws to protect them and to help them fight, to give them money so that they can get these organizations going to be able to stop this, because it's bad. And New Mexico's known, we are a border state, obviously. We are known for harboring criminals. I mean, look at Jeffrey Epstein's ranch is still there. That's another thing. It was mysteriously deeded to a church, a young man that was 23 years old in Florida. Really odd. It was just deeded this past October. Nobody could get to it because there were no open investigations against Epstein in the state of New Mexico. So nobody could touch it, right? And again, New Mexico will protect and harbor criminals. So, lots of just weird stuff really happening there with Epstein, but you can only imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty bad in Texas too. Texas has, I think Houston is one of the hubs of trafficking.
And I'm surprised. I'm really surprised, because, we are a very strong state, and we have a strong governor. We have a strong, just a stance with all of this. So I'm really surprised that we have, hubs and things like that in Texas.
Yeah, I'm surprised as well. I was shocked that I didn't know anything about trafficking before a year ago. I had no idea. I knew something existed, something kind of sick and twisted. I always thought it was adult women. Even not that that's better, but when I found out about what was going on with children, then it was a whole new thing. It was like, oh my gosh, I have to do something. And I'm too scared to go to the border and hang out with people. I'm not adventurous, Yeah. So, and I've been looking for, what can I do? What can I do? Yeah. So everybody, I think, needs to think, what can they do? I know about see something, say something. I have a friend who's a stewardess, and she says, they go through training to try to, pick out,
to be able to see that if they see children that look like they're in distress.
Exactly. And so it often happens that their parents are threatened, and some of them are just outright stolen, and actually some parents are giving their children.
Yes, especially from the, like when you think about these southern countries like Guatemala, El Salvador, and places like that,
Mhm.
and even in Mexico, they literally sell their children to coyotes and to traffickers, so that they can just live, and
Yeah.
it's really disgusting,
It's
and
disgusting. There's a
it's
big
disgusting.
disconnect.
It's
And
evil. It is so evil. And,
yeah,
God is going to bring judgment upon our land, to
I
all of
hope
these
hope
people.
soon.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
waiting for Jesus to come back any minute now. That would be great because I really can't. I don't know how much of it I can take, but I
I know.
know that I'm not going to stop being furious about it, because if I stop being furious, I'll stop
Mhm.
wanting to do something about it.
Right. And
It could-
that's how we have to continue to feel. Don't let the momentum stop. And
exactly.
we have to realize that there's a lot of distractions, and we've watched and learned what the Democrats do as far as distractions, right? To
Yes.
take us away from, as soon as a story breaks, or as soon as we see that they try to distract us from other things, so that we're not paying attention to things that are being uncovered and unraveled and things like that. But this movement that President Trump started is far too gone. They will not ever be able to stop this movement. They won't be able
No.
to stop the momentum that is now going. Like I was telling Audrey, who helps me with New Mexit, I said, look at where we were a year ago. We started New Mexit in 2020. And look at what we've been able to accomplish.
I'm going
Uh,
to have her on again. I love that.
Yes, yes. And one of my main goals, I told her, since she's there in the state and I'm here in Texas, fighting for my home state, I wanted New Mexico to get on a national level. We
Hmm.
had to get recognized on a national level.
Hmm.
So that way, when you start exposing what's happening, and then you start opening up that conversation, well, then, the exposure of it helps to, make to move mountains, right? We have to be
Right.
able to be recognized. So, and like I said, I thank NBC, even though I don't think they're as biased as I wish they would be, but
Hmm.
they did a fair story on me. They did a fair story on New
Hmm.
Mexit, and we were heard across the nation: Connecticut, Boston, uh, and Florida, New York, and LA, and California.
I'm
Of
so
course,
happy about that.
everywhere. We were finally heard. The
Yeah.
story about our fight was finally heard. And so I feel that, we really got the momentum going, and now we have other people coming out and starting movements and getting involved, and that's what's important.
Well, if in any team effort, I don't know if you played team sports, but when you play sports, any team effort, the chain is only as strong as the weakest link.
That's right.
And if we don't pay attention to the poorest state in our country, whatever happens to the poor state's going to spread.
It's going to
We have to
spread.
make, if New Mexico is weak in education, we need to make New Mexico strong in
Yes,
education. That's
yes.
how we fix this country. We
That's right.
fix the weakest link. And the thing that disturbs me about this is the Native American population that live there. I have another friend who I wanted to have on the show today, but she's not there. She's on vacation. But
Oh,
yeah, my friend Yolanda, she's
oh.
her father's Apache, and she works at the
That's my family, Apache Mescalero. My great great
oh,
my great great grandmother was full-blooded Apache Mescalero.
yeah,
Or
I love
Mescalero
her. She
Apache.
goes and helps and volunteers and helps build fences around the schools because they were so the priest there was so afraid of uh, coyote type people coming and taking the children
Mhm.
because they were
It'll
like going through the reservation.
They will. They will. And that's the biggest thing that people do not understand that's happening in New Mexico. And, these politicians on both sides have really done well by covering up, and keeping us, what I always say, flying under the radar, right?
Mhm.
We've been flying under the radar so enough that people have not been paying attention. And so it just became a customed way of life for us. You just adapt, right?
Yeah.
It's just a way of life. And
Well,
um,
you think that when you grow up thinking that's normal,
yeah,
you really start to think. I mean, there's things that happened where my family. I'm from Texas, but my family's from Louisiana, and a lot of things that happened in Louisiana that I thought was normal, I didn't realize until like eighth, ninth grade that was twisted. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't
like,
believe I thought
oh,
that was normal.
that's not right. Oh, and this is
Exactly.
why they call President Trump's his presidency the Great Awakening,
Right.
because he awoke the people in this country and said, you better start getting involved. And back in the day, we used to hold our government accountable tenfold, and we haven't been doing that for a long time.
But
And
we used to trust the media. That's why that was the
and we've
problem.
been sleeping
Oh.
and not really paying attention and not getting involved and not holding our government, down to where we should be as the people. President Reagan said the same thing. The people run the government. The people are the ones that are driving that car and should always be driving that car and in control of it. So he warned us since then about
Yes.
what's been happening. And we know that goes way back. We know our own government took out the great JFK. We know our government took out the Malcolm X and
I think that John Jr.
MLK. Mm-hmm.
No, Junior, the one the plane crashed with his
Yes.
wife.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was something that's very suspect because I mean,
It
who
was
benefited
Hillary
from that?
Clinton.
Exactly. Hillary Clinton benefited from that, just
Yeah.
like the Capitol riots or insurrection, what they're calling. They talk about it every day as though we didn't spend over 120 days of constant rioting in several cities across this country during the pandemic, as though that never happened. That's nothing compared to the Capitol, where
January
only
6th.
one person got shot, and that person happened to be a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
So, and who had the most to gain and who had the most to lose? Now, Trump had everything to lose by these people acting a fool, right? And then, but who had something to gain? Nancy Pelosi. Once again, she rammed through that impeachment with no evidence, nothing.
And it failed again.
Yes, but she rammed it through so fast because she did not want us to find out the information before she could get her impeachment. I better do this fast before the information comes out as to what was really happening in that Capitol. And she's very dishonest. I mean, she's crooked as could be. Crooked Hillary's got nothing on Nancy Pelosi.
No. They all have their seat in hell waiting, in my opinion.
I think so. A nice warm spot.
Yeah.
It's like I have this fantasy, Oh, they're there, a nice warm spot. Oh, do you ever talk about someone that wasn't very nice who passed, and you're thinking, I wonder what they're doing down there.
Yeah. How can you not think about it? I mean, and then sometimes I start thinking, I'm like, is this hell we're living in right now? Is this considered hell?
Who knows?
This is, and then we go to heaven. I pray that all is righteous and good, because you don't have Satan running up amok trying to destroy everything in his path, like he promised.
Well, that's the thing, is people don't realize how the reality of Satan, because he's real. And so long as they don't think he's real, then people can do whatever they want because they don't feel like there's a consequence. Right. And he's always swarming around trying to ruin things. That's and he wants to destroy families. He has the same sort of goal as Black Lives Matter, actually.
Yeah. And you know what, though, Kathy, I have to say is that we're minorities. And watching the other minorities in this country speak out the way we are, it leads me to believe more and more, that the percentage that actually voted for Biden is like this.
I think you're right.
Even that. And this is why they got everybody involved, all the Democrat parties. I mean, like Trey Gowdy said, this is, and I totally agree, and I've been saying this too, this is treason. What we watched happen in our country is complete treason. This is 6 to 10 states that colluded with other entities, whether they be abroad or domestic, international or domestic. And they colluded to take out the one president that was literally stopping them from a world agenda that all these world leaders have been working to push. And that is to take our American values away from us, because they know that we are the last standing freedom country And our corrupt politicians sold this out. They sold this out to China. They
Mhm.
sold this out to many other corrupt people for money and power. And it's, you know, it's so clear. It is
It's so
so
obvious. Where is Hunter Biden? You know, when they gave him that big diamond instead of cash, you know, and he got on uh, that, you know, the number 2 plane in our country. And, you know, really got away with it. There's no investigation. There's no investigation in anything that happens in the Democratic Party. Nope. Something else. They have smoke and mirrors. They got smoke over there. So we'll look at the mirrors over there. And it's all collusion. And I'm kind of tired of it. And I really miss Trump so much.
Oh, I know, but you know what? I do believe what we are watching in Arizona, Maricopa County, Arizona,
Oh,
is
yes.
going to be the freedom once and for all.
Where
You know,
are we with the auditing over there in Arizona? Do you know
well,
where
you
we
know, it's
stand?
on its way still, from what I understand. There was a couple of hiccups, and the secretary, I just shared it the other day, the corrupt Secretary of State, just like our New Mexico Secretary of State, she was busted getting money from Soros, and so was ours. She clearly came out and said, you know, we're going to have to get all brand new voting machines now. We need, because I don't trust what these auditors are doing, how they may, you know, pretty much manipulate them. We need to get brand new machines. Are you kidding me? So what you're admitting, Secretary of State, is that those machines can be manipulated, right? So
And
after
probably
you
were.
and the Democrats have shoved down into
Yes.
us that they cannot be manipulated, that Trump and we're all crazy
Mhm.
because those machines can't be manipulated. There was no such thing as voter fraud. So now what you're telling us that only the Republican Party knows how to manipulate them, and you're worried that that's what they're doing during the audit. So, I mean, we have to think logically here. How are you going to go from, oh, this was a fair election, it was safe, these machines are safe, they're fail-proof, to, you know, I don't trust that the Republicans aren't going to manipulate them.
Uh-huh.
What? So, are you kidding me? So that just goes to show that there is something very wrong with those machines, because now she doesn't even trust that they haven't been manipulated.
So there you have it. I mean, they're finding out things that we already knew. So we know that we knew this back last year. We knew this last year. It was so obvious. And so it's like all of a sudden today, or maybe it was yesterday, Fauci comes out and says that, you know what, maybe this disease, the corona, was not naturally occurring. Oh, you mean it was concocted? He's now saying that. We could have told him that last year when this whole thing first
Oh my
started. It
God.
came out of a lab. That tells you right there. They put it together. This is not something that, but they're expecting us to believe that this was a revelation of his. After we now find out that he was heavily invested into that Wuhan lab. I'm like, come on.
Yes. And then, I mean, God bless Rand Paul for coming out and doing what he did, and putting him, you know, right in that
Putting him on blast.
lab, because everything changed. I mean, miraculously, New York City overnight, it's like, oh, we're at 100% capacity. We're open.
Yeah.
What? You were just saying 3 days ago it was death and destruction via COVID, and now all of a sudden we're 100% of capacity, and you know, it's so mind-boggling that the liberals and the people that voted for these people literally cannot look at this and say, what the heck is going on? Even just a little bit.
Yeah,
but they won't. Those that see it have too much damn pride to admit that they messed up, and to admit that they are going to come on the right side of the Constitution, where we the people, doesn't say we the government, let me just say it again, the Constitution reads, we the people, because the people are in control and should always be in control. And it's time that we take it back. So now we're gonna have to learn a hefty lesson. Now we're gonna have to teach our children that you never sleep on your government. You never allow them to have as much control as they have, because now look at how much harder we have to work to take it back out of the death grip of these corrupt politicians.
Well, what they want is total control, but they're never going to completely get it. But that's why they were so gung ho about taking away our guns.
Yeah.
They were so gung ho about that. This coronavirus, I believe it was intentional. Now they're saying, "Oh, we're going to look into whether it was intentional." Well, we could have told them that too. I'm like, geez. And then what's even funnier is the news people are acting like it's a surprise to them, huh?
They're just speaking to their base, and they're pushing our buttons and just pissing us off is all they're doing. But their base is, they're just trying to make it right. With those that follow them.
I mean, I'm not a big mask person, but I found that, the only time I wore them was when I knew other people would be really, excited or worried. Like to church, I did not like wearing, what faith I have in Jesus while wearing a mask. That felt fake to me. But I was concerned that the old people sitting near me would be afraid because they watch TV.
Right.
And it's really concerning because you don't know what channels they're watching. They watch whatever's available. I went to my mother's hospital room and there was CNN. I'm thinking, oh CNN. My gosh.
The biggest hoax that the government ever did was tell the people that they are passing and have such a deadly virus where they have no symptoms.
Exactly. You got to go through a drive-through and get swabbed to find out if you have it. Serious.
That is the biggest. I mean, I laugh at that.
You don't know you have it, but go get swabbed and to find out if you have it. And the thing is, it has a 99% survival rate if you get it.
If you get it.
That's higher.
If you get it.
Yeah, that's better than the flu.
Yeah.
That's better than the flu, the regular old flu.
Absolutely.
But we shut our whole country down for that.
The whole country. So we're not going to stop now.
No.
I mean, they think it was bad the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, we're not going to stop. This is what I said, that they don't understand that Trump already started a movement, and we're going to teach this to our children. And the audacity of some of these left-wing crazy people like Katie Couric to say that it's time to start reprogramming us.
Oh, I'll never forget that.
I'm sorry, what?
Really?
Why don't we go have this conversation over coffee, Kathy? Miss Katie Couric. I would love to have coffee with you about this conversation.
Reprogramming them.
It was insane to just hear fellow Americans.
As though she already knew we were being programmed probably the last 50 years in public school.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, and you have to tell people, and this is what I say, it's really simple. Mm-hmm. Either you understand the Constitution and you're on that side, or you don't understand it and you're on that side. That it's as simple as that. Either that's where you stand. And if you understand the Constitution and what it means, but you're over here, you better reevaluate. And you better step across the line and come on this side, because it's that simple. It's either you understand the Constitution or you don't. Either you understand what freedom means or you don't. Mm-hmm. That's it. And so, and I have, and what we're watching across this world is just distractions. What's happening? I mean, it's unfortunate in Gaza again. It's unfortunate. I mean, look at Colombia. Look at what's happening in Colombia. And our media doesn't even talk about it. Those people are being struck down right now by their government, and they're fighting. And this is just, it's horrible.
El Salvador's, the president of El Salvador was being interviewed, and I had never seen this side of the immigration argument or problem. But he was saying that it is this movement towards America, the open border. He says it's devastating El Salvador, because he said most of our working men and our population have left. So basically they don't have anybody to produce something. If you want to make money, you have to produce something as a country. And if you have only old people there who can't work hard, exactly, then your country is going to die, and you're ripe for the picking of huge countries like China.
And who did that? Who told these people that they could come to America for free?
Joe Biden.
I would in fact make sure that we immediately surge to the border. All those people are seeking asylum. They deserve to be heard. That's who we are. We're a nation that says if you want to flee and you're fleeing oppression, you should come.
So, you know, when people say that, well, it's not his fault that people, no, you don't understand. America is the power country in this world. And everybody wants to live here for a reason, because they're fleeing socialism, they're fleeing communism. And I followed this young man on TikTok, and he's Asian, he's an Asian American. And he put out a TikTok, and I shared it because it says, why do the media and liberals hate Asian Americans? Well, because they're not a part of the high percentage in crime. They work hard. They fled communism. They are contributing to society. And you know, they stay out of the way. You know, they tried to push Asian hate crime because they know this. Think about it. They tried to push Asian hate crime. There is no Asian hate crime in this country. You've never heard of it because they stay out of trouble. They contribute. They come here legally. And that's the big thing. They come here legally and they contribute and they work hard. And that's because they fled. So now all of a sudden, let's start up Asian hate crimes. Let's
and
put
blame
that
it
out
on Trump.
And they blamed it on Trump.
Wake
up.
There have been Asian hate crimes, not a huge increase like they're saying, but the sad thing is most of those crimes are committed by Blacks and Hispanics who live in the neighborhoods where the Asians own the stores. And I've been in a store. I was visiting a friend, and I went to the hair supply, and this Asian guy who flirts with everybody. He's a nice guy. Anyways, he was there, and he had mirrors everywhere to look down the aisles because so much was stolen from his store. And then the woman comes in and she looks at me and she goes, he's watching me because he thinks I'm going to steal something. And guess what she did? She stole something. I mean, he's watching me. Oh, really? That's your answer, is to actually steal something? And I mean, to me, that just is beyond belief, but that is a real thing. I've heard that in not amongst my friends, but amongst people who live in that neighborhood. And they think there's a rumor. This is crazy. There's a rumor in the ghetto that when Asians come to this country, or Arabs, that the government buys them a business. Oh, I'm not kidding.
As a small business owner, I've been, I don't know about that, but I mean, my dad told me that there are programs that the Asians and that the Indians, Middle Easterners do, take full advantage of. And they even asked me as a small business owner when I put bids in, if I am a part of this organization, you pay this organization, they push you to the top of the bid. Okay.
Oh,
you're at the top of the bid so that you get that job.
Whoa. My
And
Asian,
I did not
my
become
Asian
a part
friends,
of it.
the family that I knew in Houston, I don't know if they were a part of a program, but I know that they picked up trash off the sides of the roads when they first got here, and they put all their money together, which no American would do with their family. I wouldn't put my money in the same bank account with my sisters,
Right.
But how many Americans would do that? And then let your grandmother control it. That's how their families are cohesive. And this was a Vietnamese family. And I'm like, wow, I admired that. I did a whole show about, I used to work for KHOU, and I did a whole show about it. I thought, wow, how many Americans trust their own families? See, that's another thing. We don't trust each other.
No, we don't.
We don't trust each other. And that's why we are not able to accomplish as much as some of the immigrants who come here with other cultures.
That's right.
And we don't revere our elderly.
That's right.
So
I'm so glad I'm at a place, it just makes me laugh. I think about it. My daughters, now that they're grown, they say, they put a post like, we don't make any life decisions without calling mom first. I love that.
Yeah.
Because, we've gotten to that point now where they literally will not make any type of life decisions without talking to me, getting my opinion, and things like that, and then I still tell them, but you know what, sweetheart, you know what you've got to do at the end of the day. This is my opinion. This is how I feel. But I can see that, they come here and they respect their elders, but they are successful.
Yeah.
The Asian community is very successful. They don't bother anybody. They're not out there committing crimes. They are,
I
they
really
come
think
here
that
legally.
the racism that they are experiencing more so now has been academic. It has been like at Harvard, and how they're saying they can't take as many Asians because they have to lower the bar. Once again, stereotype, lower the bar for us poor brown and black people. So this is not fair. I think the smartest kid should get the spot. I don't care what color they are.
I don't care what color they are.
You earn it, you get it. That's how it should work.
That's
And for them to say that out loud, and for Asian Americans to have to fight for their place in Harvard because they can only take a few.
Yeah.
Because
That's
that's absurd. It's obscene, actually. So to me, I'm thinking, I went to college, and I remember when people I went to college with, they all assumed, not all, I'm being a generalizer again, but many assumed that I got there because of affirmative action, because I'm Black. And I'm thinking, I was in the top 5% of my high school. So, I mean, they almost, that was the thing. The qualifications when we went to 9th grade, that was the first thing that they did with the counselor. They said, no, it was 10th grade. The counselor took everybody in one by one. What college do you want to go to? And then he said, well, this college requires this, and this. And those are the classes you have to take to get into that college. And you have to make this on your SAT, or at least have this level. There were a whole bunch of criteria, but I met the criteria. So I felt like every time I did something, they thought it was because I was Black. That's what I don't like about this critical race theory thing. I think this is and they talk about conspiracy theories. This is the biggest conspiracy theory there is, this critical race theory.
It is. No, you are right. And it's like, I saw a lady it was a white woman who did a video, and a Black man shared it and says, you have to realize what we're watching is the Democrats and these prominent elite corrupt people are coming out and saying that the Black community, that they're incapable of holding a job. They're incapable of making the grades that they're supposed to make. They're incapable of applying for loans. They're incapable of making it in the schools. They are incapable of using a laptop. They are incapable of understanding the internet. They are incapable of understanding that something's just not quite right, and that they are incapable of doing the things that they need to do in life in order
going to the DMV.
Or going to the DMV. And so when you have these people telling a certain individual or a certain group in that community and saying, yeah, because you guys are holding us down, and so they feed in that victim mentality, then they're going to continue to raise victims instead of raising victors, And so it's just a circulating, it's just been a circulating and a never ending circle of this.
Yeah.
Until President Trump.
I wonder how left-leaning Blacks and Hispanics, how did they not hear what we're hearing? Because I'm insulted by all of it. How can they hear it and just go, oh, well, that's nothing. Oh, well, he didn't. Like Joe Biden can say, if you don't vote for me, you ain't Black. Well, we forget all that. I'm like, really?
I don't know. I go round and round and round with some people, even in my own family.
Yeah.
Again, it's pride, Kathy. It's pride. It is so much pride. They will not admit that you are right in anything, even though they know deep down that
how can a whole room full of people at a church hear a joke about Hillary having her hot sauce in her purse and not be upset? I'm like, that is, and you talk about racism, that's right there, right in your face, racism.
And you give her a pass. President Trump, oh no, take him to the volcano and drop them inside. That's what you do.
I know, because he never did say the people coming through Mexico were rapists.
Oh, I'm sure you saw my video.
I love that one. That was a good one. In fact, maybe you can let me play it on my show.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, because I'll give it some. Oh, I love that one. That was you do the best videos.
Thank you. But you know, you have to point that out. And I asked everybody, go back and listen. And I want you to tell me if you heard Trump say that Mexicans are
Mm-hmm.
rapists and murderers and drug dealers. I said, I'm going to wait because I'm going to wait for you to come
No, he
tell me.
said coming through Mexico. He didn't even say
He
Mexican.
said Mexico allows and sins, which is
Allows.
true, allows and sins.
Right.
But the whole
Exactly.
context behind that was totally left out. And the context
Mhm.
of that was that wide open borders, and there are corruption on both sides. Our
Mhm.
American politicians, our American government, along with the Mexican government,
Amen.
did allow these things to happen, right? Because they benefited from it.
Mhm.
You know, American government benefits off of the cartels coming in and bringing drugs. Obama's scandal of the Fast and the Furious proves just that. He let all these
Oh man.
guns go into Mexico. They disappeared. Okay,
Mhm.
one of our Border Patrol agents was brutally murdered.
They're in
And
cahoots. They're in
yeah,
cahoots with the cartel. I think that's why I think if maybe the cartel had something to do with Biden's election
I wouldn't doubt it. I'm sure
because they
all the
had the
elites,
most to gain. Look how much they're gaining right now.
the corrupt elites around the world said, let's do this. And they knew Trump was that wrench. He was the wrench in that plan. So, you know, you have to educate people that you know, they left out the whole context. They
Mhm.
left out the whole part of the importance of why we needed a wall, the importance of why we needed to understand what's coming in and out of our border.
Right.
And he did say, I'm assuming some are good, because they are. There's a
Mhm.
lot of good people, but we still want you to do it the right way. And
Yes.
I get a lot of heat because, well, I'm sure your family, we're all immigrants, okay? But my family roots also are Native American.
Mhm.
My grandmother came to America at 3 months old. The whole family became legal. My grandfather was born right on this
Wow.
land.
Well,
And
I'd
he's
love to get your
American
take
through
on
and
that
through.
1619 project. Like America didn't start until slavery, you know?
I know.
Really, like
Do you know how
it
many Native
bothers me.
Americans enslaved their own? How many Native Americans sold their own women and children for
Black
land?
people sold, my ancestors bought and sold. So really, it's a worldwide dilemma. It's not something unique to us. What I found though, very interesting when they talk about that 1619 project, that sort of negates, it's sort of like when you say America was discovered in 1492, like it didn't exist in any way before Christopher Columbus came here. There were people here.
Yeah,
So it was
Native
discovered,
Americans.
but yeah, it's discovered by Europe. That doesn't mean but you understand the way that they say it. It's as though there was nobody here, and you know, until all of a sudden the Americans, I mean, the English landed. Actually, was it Spain?
From Spain.
Landed Christopher
Which are my
Columbus.
ancestors.
There you go. So, so you get it both ways. And I'm just saying, you can't say that, you know, it didn't exist before, but that's the way that they're teaching. And I remember thinking, that doesn't make sense if there were people there. So the entire history, like if you looked at other people's cultures, including Israel, who I love, Israel, you know, they want their own land where they're from.
Right.
So I don't get why that's a problem, because shouldn't they have their own land where
That's
they're from?
historically their land that they just want
Exactly.
back. And it's the size of New Jersey
Yeah.
compared to the size that the Middle Easterners have in that area. There's no comparison.
Right.
And so it's a mess.
But
It's
it
a
goes
mess.
back thousands and thousands of years. So we can count their history for thousands, but we're not counting American history until before 1492. You see, we have American history before 1492 here in America. They were just Native Americans.
They're just Native Americans. That's right. I'm telling you.
Well, you know what? I'm so glad you came on the show. I hope we can do this again.
Yes.
And I'd love to tell Audrey I want her on the show too. I took a week off. I had to go to a funeral. My mom passed last week.
Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. I'm so sorry.
Oh, it was hard. It was hard. It's still hard. But you know what? I took a week off from making shows and writing and painting, and went to the funeral. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I
Oh,
gave the eulogy. It was good to see my family again. And some parts were really kind of funny. But at our family funerals, something's always funny.
oh yes, absolutely. I'm so sorry, honey. My deepest condolences.
Oh, thank you. It was a long goodbye. She was
Yeah,
sick for a long time. So every other month it was like, oh my gosh, is this it? Every time I would visit,
that's it.
is this the
Yeah.
last time? And then
Oh,
finally it was the last time. But you know what? She had a good life.
mhm.
And I did not let her die watching CNN. I changed the
Well,
channel
good.
when I went in there.
I don't want you to leave watching this mess. Yeah.
Can you imagine if that's the last thing you saw? she,
No, I couldn't.
she still had me laughing because she was trying to tell me something and I couldn't understand her. And I'm being all this and praying and stuff. And she's still making me laugh. My mom is still funny. And, but she's, I look at parts of me, like my hands and my legs, and I see her.
Yeah.
She's everywhere. My kids remind me of her. And she's in a better place. She taught 5 children about Jesus. So I think she's got a
Good.
place in heaven.
Yes, she does. And she'll be waiting for you. God bless her.
Now she's
God
out there with
bless
my
you.
dad and they're having a party and Jesus is
Yes.
hugging her. I'm kind of jealous.
I know, because I know it's a lot better. That's what I keep saying. I know that these people are, when we lose our loved ones, that they are just in such a beautiful place. And I do believe that they're going to be waiting for us. I really do.
Yes. And poor us, we're stuck here with Biden.
I know. Hopefully not for long. Hopefully Arizona starts to, drop the dominoes, and then we can.
We're gonna pray on that. See, they
He's gonna
forget
have
we
to
were
step
praying
down.
people.
Yeah.
We're praying people. They forget about that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, thank you for being on the show.
Thank
And I hope
you.
you'll come back soon.
Yes, ma'am.
And
I
God
will.
bless you.
God
And we'll
bless
talk
you
to
as well.
Stay in touch. Okay.
I will. Take care. Bye, honey.
Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening to kathysright.com. Make sure you subscribe and tell your friends. Subscribe to my blog. That way you'll get everything. God bless. God bless America.